All right, if you guys can hear me, just type yes in the comment field before we get started. Yeah. All right, let's get things going. Hey everyone, John here. I offer Solutions Real Estate Services, and what we're going to talk about today is how you can negotiate a good price for the rent-to-own house. The main thing we're going to focus on is a question that keeps rearing its head every once in a while: is how you can actually get the owner to agree to sell you the house in the future at today's price or even less. Now, before we get started on the video, we're going to talk about negotiating a good price for your rent-own home. If you're really serious about getting into a home and the bank has turned you down from a mortgage, they've just said no, head over, grab a copy of my book, How to Buy for $100 Down, even when the bank says no. If that's of interest to you, then go to buyfor100down.com, grab yourself a copy. Like I said, I wrote this book specifically for you. It's How to Buy a Home for $100 Down, even when the bank says no. So head over to buyfor100down.com. All right, so let's get things rolling here and get back to letting you know what it takes to negotiate a good price. Now, we all know that we need to show the homeowner that they're going to actually make more money working with us than any other option that they have available to them. But the question that keeps popping up is, and what holds people back from achieving getting into a rent-own is, and getting the best possible price, not just getting into it, but getting the best possible prices. They don't know how to present in a way that gets them a great price while at the same time shows the homeowner that they're actually going to make more money when they work with you. And you know what? That's really a fair question, and it's one that keeps coming up all the time. But people are really worried about not knowing what to say. They don't even know the first thing about negotiating. They don't have a clue about how to present to the homeowner, which, you know, it all makes sense. You know, this is not what people typically do generally. But here's the thing. When it comes to showing the homeowner that working with you is better than any other option that they have, you actually need to spend a few minutes and compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. You can't compare apples to oranges. All right, apples to apples, oranges to oranges, and show them approximately how much more money they'll make when they work with you. So typically, there's the owner has three options available to them right now if they want to move out of their house or put it on the market. Those options are: they can sell it today, they could rent it for a period of time and then sell it in the future, or they could rent-own the home to you. So those are typically the three options. Most of them only know of the first two: sell it today, rent it out for a period of time, and then sell it. Very few know of the third option, or they're not even presented with the third option, which is turn their home into rent-own, or rent to own the home out to you. So what you need to do is when you're presenting to the homeowner, you need to walk through each scenario with them and show them how much more money they'll make when they work with you. And at the same time, you're going to get the house at a much better price. So to do that, in each case, what you would do is you'd start deducting expenses that they would incur for each scenario. So for scenario one, selling the house today, maybe it's going to cost them $5,000 to get it show ready. Show ready is, you know, it's freshly painted. When people are coming in to look at it, to buy the house, you know, there's no nicks and dings. Everything's looks fresh and clean, and that typically means painting the whole place, redoing some things, upgrading some of the fixtures, things like that. All right. So then when they actually go to sell the home, typically when you're selling a home, you're going to lose 3 to 5% of the purchase price in negotiations. So it's very rare for a buyer to walk into a house and say, "I will pay you full price." No, they're going to come in and say, "Okay, I'll pay you this much." And the owner comes back and says, "Oh, I want this much. I want this much." At the end of the day, typically the owner is going to get 3 to 5% less than what they had it on the market for, and they're going to lose that in negotiations. Like I said, most people don't get the asking price that they put the house for on the market. So unless it's a really hot market, there are some really hot markets where you get over asking price, but that's very rare. And then you start deducting things like, okay, realtor fees. Okay, so well, you got to take that off, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Well, if the house is vacant, maybe it's going to sit vacant while it's up for sale. That's another 3 to 5 months before somebody actually takes possession and moves in and starts paying. So there's another 3 to 5 months worth of bills, mortgage, taxes, insurance, and utilities that the homeowner has to pay. Well, you can start deducting those, and you can keep going and dropping how much they'll actually end up paying or getting once they sell the house. So they'll end up losing a large amount of money. Plus, by selling it today, they're going to miss out on any future equity, because when you're in a home and the mortgage is getting paid, the principal gets paid down. So if they're selling today, they're going to lose out on that future equity that they would receive if they rent to own the home to you, because you're going to pay down the mortgage and they're going to get X number of dollars. So that's the typical sell today. If they're going to do the traditional rent it and then sell it, well, you need to, for rental, on the rental side, you need to deduct vacancies. They're going to have to spend money on repairs and maintenance every time the tenant moves out, another tenant moves in. Depending on the quality of the tenants, it could be a lot of money in repairs and maintenance, could be a little bit of money. There's typically going to be property management fees that you can deduct. Fixing the house up when it's ready to sell, well, you have to do that again. You have to do that. You have to pay those realtor fees. You have to pay the loss, or they're going to lose money on negotiations. All of that stuff, when they have all those expenses that they would typically have if they're doing the traditional selling it for or renting it for 3 years and then selling it. So they're going to have a lot of expenses during that time frame, and they're going to end up making a lot less money. And yeah, they'll have 3 years of equity pay down, mortgage pay down that they can get back, but they're still going to make less money. And then the third option is when they work with you. Every time, that's when there's no upfront fix-up costs, because you're going to move in as it is. There's not going to be any vacancies, because you're going to presumably pay the rent every month for the next 3 years. There's not going to be any realtor costs, because when you buy the house, you're just going to buy it directly from them. There's not going to be they're not going to lose money on the negotiations of the sale price, because you're going to come to an agreement before you even move into the place. There's not going to be any property management fees that get deducted. So plus during the term that you're in there, you're going to pay down their mortgage, so they're going to gain money in equity. So when you factor all of these things in and you actually put it in 3 different columns, here's what you'd get if you sold today, or here's how much you'd lose, here's how much you'd lose if you rented it then sold it, and here's how much more money you'll make when you work with me, and you're buying it at today's price or even less, and they're still going to make more money. So when you go through that presentation model, when you present it and compare all 3 of those options, it becomes very clear every single time the owner is going to make more money when they work with you than any other option. And every time I've done this, every single time, it comes out the same way. The owner makes more money working with me than they would any other option. Plus, you're going to get a fair price for the home. Okay? So I'm going to tell you how I actually stumbled on this strategy in just a minute, but if you're just joining me, I wrote a book. It's called How to Buy a House for $100 Down, Even When the Banks Say No. So if you're serious about getting into a rent-to-own, if you're serious about getting into a home now and qualifying for it in the future, so getting into a rent-to-own, and you can afford you can afford a mortgage payment, you have somewhat of a down payment up front, then head over to buyfor100down.com. I can never remember that website. Buyfor100down.com. And anyone that's watching this, if you could just type that in for me, that would be great. Buyfor100down.com, and put it in the comments so everyone can see the URL. That would be perfect. And greatly appreciate it. So head over, grab a copy of the book if you're looking to get into a home today and have time to qualify for the bank for a bank mortgage in the future. All right. So the way that this presentation model came about is, as anyone that's seen my videos before, I'm a proud introvert. I'm not a salesman, not a negotiator. This strategy of presenting to the homeowner really as a result of being that nervous introvert, namely me, going out, talking to homeowners, trying to get them to let me take over their home at a good price, and like not knowing anything about negotiating or anything like that. And I'd be so nervous at the beginning. I would forget everything I was supposed to say when I was trying to present to the homeowner on the property. I would just forget everything. My mind would go blank because I was so nervous. So what I'd have to do is I'd actually have to prepare a piece of paper before I even went there. I'd have to draw 3 columns, sell today, rent it, then sell it, and then rent own with me. And then on the side, I would list all the different expenses that they could possibly have. So when I went to meet with the owners, I would go there and I'd have this piece of paper. It'd already be done. I wouldn't have to remember anything. I'll just look down the paper and said, oh, I'm going to sell today. It's like, oh, we need to factor in, okay, you don't have to spend, how much you figure you're going to spend on fixing it up. That was a $5,000 there. How much, typically you're not going to sell for full price, how much would you, so we'd knock off that much. Oh, you got to pay realtors, knock off that much. And, oh, well, it's going to take, anywhere from 3 to 5 months before the person actually takes over pays it, takes over the payment, moves in. So you have to pay for 3 to 5 months. Let's take off that, So I'd go through the 3 different options: the sell today, the rent it, then sell it, then the rent own with me. But I had it all on a piece of paper, and that's how this whole presentation model actually came about, because the nervous introvert like me just could not remember what I was supposed to say when I was going to meet with homeowners. Like, I'm doing this for a business. It's like, I got to figure something out because, I got to make some money somehow. So, that's how it all started. And actually it evolved over time and get much more sophisticated and things like that. But it was always boiled back to those same 3 options that the homeowner had: sell today, rent it, and then sell it, or rent own with me. And every single time I walked through that example with them, they would always work out that they make a lot more money working with me, but I get the house at today's price or even a little bit less. And of course, they always want to negotiate on stuff like that. It's like they can see that they're making more money, but in their mind, there's like, oh, I should get more for the house. So that's always a negotiation, but you can always show them that they're going to make more money working with you, and you're going to get that fair price. So that's how the whole presentation model came about, the 3 options. So before I move on, before I forget, if you are serious about getting into a home today and qualifying in the future, if you want to get into your own rent-own home and do it yourself, like I said, and you actually have the income to be able to support a mortgage, then head over and grab a copy of my book, buyfor100down.com. Buyfor100down.com. I share the same strategy that I use to get all these 50 houses, and for only $100 each. So you can go through the book and go through, and it's the exact same strategy. You'll learn the same strategy. All right. So to summarize, in order to negotiate to get the best possible price and terms from the owner on the rent-own home, you need to, like I said, you need to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. You need to show them the 3 options they have available to them right now and how they're actually going to make more money working with you by going through those 3 options. And those 3 options, again, were sell today, rent for a period of time, and then sell, rent own their home to you. Okay. And like I said, it always works out that when they rent to own the home to you, they're going to make more money and you get the house at today's price or even less. All right. So once again, to summarize, part of getting into home ownership when the bank has turned you down from a mortgage, if you know anything at all about rent own, or been following me, you know that there's like 3 big things that we always do: attract the homeowner, negotiate a fair price and terms, and sign very specialized rent-own contracts with the owner. Okay, so to summarize today's video, we're talking about negotiating fair price and terms. That's the topic of today's video. So here's the thing. If you don't know how to negotiate, you don't even know what to say, or don't know even what to present, it's pretty simple. Just stick to, even if you had to do what I did, stick to comparing the 3 options the owners have: You're going to sell it today, you're going to rent it out, then sell it, or you're going to rent to own it. Compare those three things. Start subtracting all the expenses they would have in each of those three options, and it's going to end up showing them that they're going to make more money working with you than they would any other way, and you're going to get the house at a better price and better terms. Okay, it really becomes a no-brainer for the owner to end up working with you. All right, so that's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you got a lot out of today's video. If you have any questions, just type them in the comment section below, and I'll be in there and I'll answer the questions for you. And again, once again, before I go, if you're serious, if you actually want to get into a rent to own, if you want to get into a home of your own and have time to qualify for the mortgage, you want to access the same strategy I use to pick up 50 homes at $100 down each, then head over to buyfor100down.com. That's buyfor100down.com, and grab a copy of my book. And we'll go from there. All right. So thank you very much for joining me today. Hope you have a great day. Look forward to chatting with you again soon. Take care.